Welcome to the video that will help you get your CDs started. So we're on the first sheet, and some of you guys have not adjusted your title block, and I want you to go in into the family once again and move the vertical line so that it's a smaller amount of space, roughly about 2 inches. Some of you have it very large right now. And you're going to need to make other adjustments on the sheet so that all the text fits inside of the title block. So here's where I'm showing you a dimension of roughly 2 inches that I need you to make that title block. When something says that it's a label, I want you to leave it alone and let it stay as a label. Now we're just going to adjust the size of that label on the bottom, make sure all of our titles can fit in there. And then we're going to move our project name, and we want to make sure all of the text is moved within the borders. And again, if something is a label, do not try to make it into a text. So we're going to scoop up all these words and make sure that they're inside of the left border. And when I finally feel like I've got everything done, I'm going to load it and save it and put it into the project, and I'm going to overwrite the existing version. And you can see my border moved a little bit. I had already made an adjustment. You guys will have more of an adjustment to make. Now when we're fooling with our renderings, and I'll show you how to do JPEGs later, but let's talk about just scaling down the proportions. So instead of scaling down the view or activating the view and scaling the view down, we're going to scale down the view using the proportions. And I want you to drag on your other two renderings, the two views of the restaurant. One should be a major view and one should be a minor view, and then also have the corridor view. And maybe if the second floor is more interesting than the corridor, we might look at that. But the point being that you need to start getting your 3 drawings onto the cover sheet so we can start making the arrangement for the cover sheet. Make sure the labels are correct and that they are sitting next to the drawings. Next, we're going to make a sheet list. We're going to go over to a schedule, because that's what it is, and we pick up sheet list, but we want the sheet name and the sheet number. And the sheet number going first, then the sheet name. Now I had made another sheet called SP1, and I'm going to go ahead and delete it because I don't need that sheet anymore. But I could have also sorted it out just to let you know you can sort out things that don't match. Now I'm going to sort it by the sheet number, and that's all well and good, and I'm going to drag it onto my sheet. And this is something in general. I've made several comments to you guys about your schedules. I don't want the schedules to have the words on 2 lines. I want you to drag out the columns such that the columns are the proper size and that the words are on 1 line. Now here's our symbol legend. The symbol legend isn't done just yet, but first of all, let's look at duplicating the view and making a different viewport type, one that doesn't have the title on it. So we'll say no here, and any of our legends or our schedules, we do not want to have a title on them, and then we don't also generally want a border on it. Now we need to add some information here if you haven't done this already. I had not done, but just to remind you that you do need to explain what everything is. It's not just good enough to have the symbols on the page or on the legend. And you want to explain what the different numbers mean so that people looking at the drawings can find what they're looking for and be confident about what they're seeing. So put door number for the tag, because that's what you're really allowing for, and then the room number on the room name. Now the blue line, the vertical blue line, will help you align everything, and you should work on your spacings of things, and that's part of the format and neatness grade that you're going to be receiving at the end of the semester. Let's go over to ID 101. Wherever there is text overlapping, I want you to move things out of the way, whether it's an elevation marker or text in general. You just need to not have things overlapping. Do not overlap your door tags or anything. Now put in your notes for what your ceiling was. Now I dragged the demolition plan onto this sheet, and I want to make sure, of course, that my view is set correct, which is previous plus demo, and then it's in phase of new construction, because if you show it in existing, it's going to look like it's still there. So we need to make a note that this is the stairs that is to be demolished, and that we want them to protect the existing conditions around it. Now I can't get the floor to just simply turn off, so I'm going to have to go take a more aggressive measure and go to the visibility graphics and just generally turn the floor off altogether. I want to line up my titles. I want them all to be about the same length as far as the line is concerned. Now I have some spacing problems on this sheet, and this is the kinds of detail I want you all to notice. For instance, I do want the renovation plan for the first floor on the left side and the second floor more to the right or in the middle of the page. So once you get that correctly labeled, make sure all the labels are aligned and under the drawing, directly under the drawing. We don't need the sections to be on in this plan, and we also need to respace all of our plans equally on the page. So here I'm just going to turn off hide and view the different elements because and later, you know, you may turn these sections back on to help you move around in it. So here we're just moving the plans around so that we're spaced on the sheet equally for those three plans. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our enlarged restroom plan into here and place that on the sheet as well. Now you guys have a lot more detail in yours than I do in mine, but we need to add something. Now let's go look back at the renovation plan. We need to override the furniture and how it looks in there. We don't mind having it in there. We just want to make sure that it shows that it's not in contract by putting it into the dashed lines. So we're going to override the graphics in the view by the category, and we're going to set it to dashed lines. I happen to have a surface pattern on mine, and I need to make sure I get rid of that as well. So that's what your renovation plan should look like with your furniture. Now if something is not a piece of furniture and it's built in, such as my banquette, I needed to take it out of being in the dash lines and showed that it was built in. Next I'm going to start my dimensions, and this includes your floor pattern plan. Now I could not get my patterns to show up just yet, but I'm working on it. And you are going to detail the overall dimensions of your counter, and not so much the furniture on this sheet. The furniture will be dimensioned. The clearance between furniture is going to be dimensioned on the furniture plan. So give us some critical dimensions here. Remember to use your tab button to get access to different dimensions. Okay, so here's what I'm showing you is that you need to have unchecked your project settings and set your dimensions to the nearest ½ inch. I don't want to see 3/32 or anything like that in your dimensions. And then looking at your enlarged restroom plan, you know you have detail. So finish this up to this point, and I'll see you in class. Thank you.